Hey there, beautiful souls. Welcome to Audiobook Gist, where we dive deep into the books that can truly change your life. Before we begin this incredible journey together, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and smash that like button. Trust me, you're going to want to stay connected because we're about to explore wisdom that could literally transform everything about how you see yourself and your life. All right, let's dive in. My friends, today we're going to talk about a book that I genuinely believe should be required reading for every human being on this planet. I'm talking about As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Now, I want you to settle in, get comfortable because we're going on a deep, transformative journey together. This isn't just going to be a quick overview. We're going to explore every corner of this masterpiece, turn over every stone, and extract every ounce of wisdom that James Allen packed into these pages over 100 years ago. Let me start by telling you something important. This book is tiny. I mean, we're talking about maybe 50 pages in most editions. You could literally read it in one sitting. But here's the thing, and I need you to really hear me on this. This small book contains more life-changing wisdom than books 10 times its size. It's like Allen distilled the entire secret of human existence into this compact, powerful package. Every sentence carries weight. Every paragraph contains truth that, if you really absorb it and apply it, can completely revolutionize your life. James Allen wrote this book back in 1903. Think about that for a second. The world was a completely different place. No internet, no smartphones, no social media, no airplanes barely even existed yet. And yet, every single word in this book is just as relevant, just as powerful, just as true today as it was back then. Why? Because Allen wasn't writing about technology or culture or temporary trends. He was writing about the fundamental laws of the human mind, laws that never change, laws that apply to every person in every era. So what's the core message? What's the big idea that Allen wants us to understand? Here it is, and I want you to really let this sink in. You are literally, completely, totally what you think. Not what you say you are, not what you wish you were, not what you pretend to be. You are what you think. Your thoughts are the creative force that shapes your entire existence. Your character, your circumstances, your health, your relationships, your success or failure, your happiness or misery, all of it, every single bit of it, flows from your thoughts. Now, I know some of you might be rolling your eyes right now. You might be thinking, oh great, another one of these think positive books. But hold on. This is so much deeper than just putting on a happy face and pretending everything's fine. Allen isn't talking about superficial positivity or denial of reality. He's talking about the fundamental creative power of the human mind. He's talking about a law of the universe that's as reliable as gravity, as predictable as mathematics, as undeniable as the fact that seeds grow into plants. Let me put it this way. You know how a gardener plants seeds and then gets the corresponding plants? You plant tomato seeds, you get tomatoes. You plant rose seeds, you get roses. You can't plant weeds and expect to harvest beautiful flowers, right? Well, your mind is exactly the same way. It's a garden, and your thoughts are the seeds. Whatever you plant in that garden, whatever thoughts you allow to take root and grow, those are what will flourish in your life. If you plant thoughts of courage, abundance, kindness, and possibility, that's what will grow. If you plant thoughts of fear, scarcity, resentment, and limitation, well, guess what's going to fill your garden? And here's the kicker. Most people have absolutely no idea what they're planting. They're not consciously choosing their thoughts. They're just letting random stuff blow into their mental garden like dandelion seeds in the wind. Negative news, other people's opinions, fears from childhood, worries about the future, regrets about the past. All of this junk is taking root and growing, and then they wonder why their life looks the way it does. Allen starts the book with this profound statement: mind is the master power that molds and makes, and man is mind. And evermore he takes the tool of thought, and shaping what he wills, brings forth 1,000 joys, 1,000 ills. He thinks in secret, and it comes to pass. Environment is but his looking glass. Did you catch that? Your environment, your circumstances, your life situation, is just a mirror reflecting back your dominant thoughts. Your outer world is a perfect reflection of your inner world. Now, I want to pause here because this is where people sometimes get uncomfortable. You might be thinking, wait a minute. Are you saying that if I'm struggling financially, it's because of my thoughts? Are you saying that if I'm sick, it's because of my thoughts? Are you saying that if bad things have happened to me, it's my fault? No, that's not what Alan is saying, and that's not what I'm saying either. Let me be really clear about this because it's important. Alan isn't talking about blame. He's not saying you consciously chose every circumstance you're in. He's not saying that victims of tragedy or injustice somehow thought those things into existence. What he is saying is this: regardless of what has happened to you, regardless of what circumstances you find yourself in, your habitual thoughts determine what you do with those circumstances. Your thoughts determine whether you rise or fall, whether you grow or shrink, whether you become bitter or better. Two people can go through the exact same difficult experience. One person thinks defeated thoughts, victim thoughts, hopeless thoughts, and they spiral downward. The other person thinks resilient thoughts, growth thoughts, possibility thoughts, and they rise. Same circumstances, completely different outcomes. Why? Because of their thoughts. This is actually incredibly empowering when you think about it. It means that no matter what hand life has dealt you, you still have the power to play those cards in a way that serves you. Let's go deeper into what Alan says about thought and character. This is absolutely crucial. He says that a man's character is the complete sum of all his thoughts. Not some of his thoughts. Not just his conscious thoughts. All of his thoughts. Every thought you think is either building your character or eroding it. There's no neutral ground. You're either thinking thoughts that make you stronger, wiser, more compassionate, more capable, or you're thinking thoughts that make you weaker, more foolish, more bitter, more limited. And here's something that really blew my mind when I first understood it. Your character isn't something that happens to you. It's not genetic, it's not predetermined, it's not fixed. Your character is something you're building every single moment of every single day with your thoughts. Every thought is like a brick. You're building something. The question is, what are you building? Are you building a solid, beautiful structure that can withstand any storm? Or are you building something shaky and weak that will crumble when challenges come? Alan says, and I love this, as the plant springs from, and could not be without, the seed, so every act of a man springs from the hidden seeds of thought. Everything you do, every action you take, every word you speak, originated as a thought. This means that if you want to change your actions, you don't start with your actions, you start with your thoughts. If you want to change your life, you don't start with your circumstances, you start with your mind. Think about someone who wants to lose weight but constantly thinks thoughts like, I have no self-control, I can't resist food, I'll always be overweight. Those thoughts are seeds. What kind of plant is going to grow from those seeds? Probably not a healthy, fit body, right? But if that same person starts thinking different thoughts, I'm becoming healthier every day, I make good choices, I respect my body, those different seeds will produce different results. Same person, different thoughts, different outcomes. Or think about someone who wants to start a business but constantly thinks I'm not smart enough, I don't have enough money, what if I fail, people like me don't succeed. Those thoughts are building a character that's afraid to take risks, that sees obstacles instead of opportunities, that gives up easily. But if that person starts thinking, I can learn what I need to know, I can find the resources, I can handle setbacks, I'm capable of building something valuable. Now you're building a completely different character. An entrepreneurial character, a resilient character, a character that can actually succeed. Alan makes this powerful point. Good thoughts bear good fruit. Bad thoughts, bad fruit. It's really that simple, not easy, but simple. And he goes on to say that we are the makers of ourselves. Not our parents, not our circumstances, not our past, not society. We are the makers of ourselves through the thoughts we choose to think. Now let's talk about circumstances, because this is where people really struggle with Alan's message. He has an entire section on thought and circumstances, and he makes some bold claims. He says that a man's circumstances are the means by which he learns what he needs to learn and becomes what he needs to become. Your circumstances, even the difficult ones, especially the difficult ones, are actually perfectly designed to teach you something and to strengthen some part of your character. He says that every person is where they are by the law of their being. The thoughts which they have built into their character have brought them there, and in the arrangement of their life, there is no element of chance. Everything is the result of a law which cannot err. Now, when you first hear this, it might sound harsh. It might sound like he's saying people in difficult circumstances somehow deserve to be there. But that's not what he means at all. What Alan is pointing out is that there's a perfect relationship between our inner world and our outer world. If someone has cultivated fearful thoughts for years, they'll find themselves in circumstances that reflect that fear. Not as punishment, but as a natural consequence. It's like if you eat junk food for years, you'll find yourself in a body that reflects that diet. The body isn't punishing you. It's responding to what you've given it. Your circumstances work the same way. They respond to what you've been feeding your mind. But here's the exciting part, and this is where Alan's message becomes incredibly liberating. If your thoughts created your current circumstances, then by changing your thoughts, you can create completely different circumstances. You're not stuck. You're not trapped. You're not a victim of fate. You have the power to change everything by changing what's happening in your mind. Alan says, men do not attract that which they want, but that which they are. Read that again. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are, and what you are is determined by what you think. So many people are walking around wanting things. Wanting love, wanting money, wanting success, wanting happiness, but they're being someone completely different through their thoughts. They want love, but they're thinking unloving thoughts. They want abundance, but they're thinking scarcity thoughts. They want success, but they're thinking failure thoughts. And then they're confused about why they're not getting what they want. It's like someone standing in front of a mirror making an angry face and wondering why the mirror is showing them an angry face. The mirror isn't being mean to you, it's just reflecting what you're giving it. Your circumstances are the same way. They're reflecting your dominant thoughts back to you. Alan talks about how suffering is always the effect of wrong thought in some direction. Now, this doesn't mean that if you're suffering, you're a bad person or you did something wrong. What it means is that suffering is a signal. It's your life telling you that something in your thinking needs to adjust. It's like pain in your body. It's not there to torture you. It's there to tell you that something needs attention. He says that people are anxious to improve their circumstances but are unwilling to improve themselves. They therefore remain bound. Think about how true this is. How many people do you know who complain endlessly about their circumstances but refuse to change their thinking? They blame their boss, but they won't change their attitude about work. They blame their partner, but they won't change their own behavior. They blame the economy, but they won't change their relationship with money. They want everything around them to change, but they refuse to change themselves. And so nothing changes. But here's what Alan says happens when you do change yourself. A man can only rise, conquer, and achieve by lifting up his thoughts. He can only remain weak, abject, and miserable by refusing to lift up his thoughts. This is the path to freedom. This is the path to transformation. Lift up your thoughts. Choose higher thoughts. Choose better thoughts. Choose thoughts that empower you rather than diminish you. Now let's talk about something that affects every single one of us, the relationship between thought and health. Alan dedicates a significant portion of the book to this, and it's fascinating. He says, the body is the servant of the mind. It obeys the operations of the mind, whether they be deliberately chosen or automatically expressed. Your body is listening to your mind all the time. Every thought you think sends signals throughout your entire body. When you think stressful thoughts, your body releases stress hormones. When you think peaceful thoughts, your body releases calming chemicals. When you think angry thoughts, your blood pressure rises. When you think loving thoughts, your immune system strengthens. This isn't mystical or magical, it's biology. It's been proven by countless scientific studies. Your thoughts directly impact your physical health. Alan goes further. He says, sickly thoughts will express themselves through a sickly body. Thoughts of fear, doubt, indecision, despair, and hopelessness have been known to kill a man as surely as a bullet. Strong words, right? But think about it. How many people literally worry themselves sick? How many people's bodies break down under the weight of chronic anxiety, resentment, or depression? The mind-body connection is real and powerful. On the flip side, Alan says, thoughts of courage, self-reliance, and decision crystallize into manly habits. Thoughts of patience, purity, and cheer impart grace to the body. When you cultivate positive, strong, healthy thoughts, your body responds. You stand taller. You move with more energy. You look younger. You heal faster. Your entire physical being reflects the quality of your mental life. He talks about how disease and health, like circumstances, are rooted in thought. Now, before anyone gets upset, Alan isn't saying that all illness is caused by wrong thinking or that positive thinking alone can cure all diseases. Medicine has its place. But what he is saying is undeniable. Your mental state significantly impacts your physical state. A person who maintains a calm, peaceful, optimistic mind is generally healthier than someone whose mind is constantly churning with worry, anger, and negativity. Alan says something really profound here. Clean thoughts make clean habits. The so-called saint who does not wash his body is not a saint. I love this because it shows that Alan isn't promoting some kind of disconnected spiritual thinking that ignores the physical world. He's saying that true mental and spiritual health expresses itself in the physical realm. If your thoughts are truly elevated, your body will reflect that. You'll take care of yourself. You'll make healthy choices. Your outer life will match your inner life. He continues, strong, pure, and happy thoughts build up the body in vigor and grace. Out of a clean heart comes a clean life and a clean body. Out of a defiled mind proceeds a defiled life and a corrupt body. This is about integrity in the deepest sense, when your thoughts, your actions, and your physical life are all aligned and reflecting the same values and the same quality. Let me tell you something that changed my perspective on health. I used to think that health was mostly about what I ate and how much I exercised. And yes, those things matter. But I started noticing that when I was stressed and worried, even if I ate well and worked out, I didn't feel healthy. My energy was low. My sleep was poor. I got sick more often. But when I started working on my mental state, when I started practicing gratitude, choosing peaceful thoughts, releasing resentment, I felt healthier even before I changed anything about my diet or exercise. My body responded to my mind. Now, let's talk about thought and purpose, because this is where everything comes together. Alan says that until thought is linked with purpose, there is no intelligent accomplishment. You can think all day long, but if those thoughts aren't connected to a clear purpose, they're just mental wandering. And mental wandering leads to a wandering life. No direction, no achievement, no fulfillment. He says you should conceive of a legitimate purpose in your heart and set out to accomplish it. Make this purpose the centralizing point of your thoughts. This is so important. Your mind needs a focal point. It needs something to aim at. Without that, your mental energy scatters in 1,000 directions and accomplishes nothing. Think about sunlight. Sunlight is warm and pleasant, but it's diffused. But if you take that same sunlight and focus it through a magnifying glass, it becomes so concentrated that it can start a fire. Your thoughts are the same way. Diffused, scattered thoughts feel busy but accomplish little. But when you focus your thoughts on a clear purpose, they become powerful enough to set your whole world on fire. In a good way. Alan talks about how people without a clear purpose fall easy prey to petty worries, fears, troubles, and self-pity. This is so true. When your mind doesn't have something constructive to focus on, it naturally gravitates toward destructive patterns. Your mind is always active. It's always working on something. If you don't give it a worthy purpose to work on, it'll find an unworthy one, usually worrying about things that might never happen, or dwelling on things you can't change. But here's something encouraging that Alan says: even if you fail again and again to accomplish your purpose, and you probably will fail multiple times, the strength of character gained will be the measure of your true success. In other words, the purpose isn't just about achieving the external goal. It's about who you become in the pursuit of that purpose. Every time you fail and get back up, you're building character. Every time you persist despite obstacles, you're strengthening your mind. Every time you keep your thoughts focused on your purpose when everything is trying to distract you, you're developing mental discipline. Alan says that they who have no central purpose in their life fall an easy prey to petty worries, fears, troubles, and self-pityings, all of which are indications of weakness and which lead just as surely as deliberately planned sins to failure, unhappiness, and loss. Notice how he equates purposelessness with weakness. A person without purpose is mentally weak, even if they're physically strong. They're at the mercy of every wind that blows, every problem that arises, every doubt that creeps in. But a person with a clear purpose is like a ship with a destination. Yes, storms will come. Yes, the seas will get rough. But that ship knows where it's going, and it keeps moving in that direction. The captain doesn't let temporary conditions determine the destination. Your purpose should be like that. Something that gives your thoughts direction no matter what temporary circumstances you're facing. Now let's dive deep into what Alan calls the thought factor in achievement. This is where he lays out exactly how thoughts translate into real-world accomplishments. He starts with this bold statement: all that a man achieves and all that he fails to achieve is the direct result of his own thoughts, not mostly the result. Not partially the result, the direct result. Your achievements or your lack of achievements are not accidents. They're not because you got lucky or unlucky. They're not because the world was fair or unfair to you. They're the direct, inevitable result of your dominant thoughts. That might be hard to hear, but it's also incredibly empowering when you think about it. Alan explains that in a universe that's governed by law, where everything operates according to cause and effect, individual responsibility must be absolute. You can't cheat the system. You can't plant apple seeds and harvest oranges just because you want oranges. You can't think weak thoughts and achieve strong results just because you want strong results. The law doesn't bend to your desires. It responds to your actual mental and spiritual state. He says, a man's weakness and strength, purity and impurity are his own, and not another man's. They are brought about by himself and not by another, and they can only be altered by himself, never by another. This is both the hardest truth and the most liberating truth in the book. Nobody else is responsible for your mental state. Nobody can fix it for you. But that also means nobody can keep you from fixing it yourself. You have complete power over this domain. Alan talks about how we love to make excuses. We say things like, I would be successful if I had more money to start with. I would be happy if my spouse was different. I would be confident if I had better genes. I would pursue my dreams if the economy was better. We're always looking outside ourselves for the reason we're not where we want to be. But Alan cuts through all of that. He says that all of the great human achievements, every invention, every work of art, every business built, every discovery made, started as a thought in someone's mind. The person who achieved that thing didn't have any more inherent power than you do. They just disciplined their thoughts in service of their vision. They refused to let doubt, fear, and limitation dominate their mental life. They kept their thoughts focused on what they wanted to create, and eventually the outer world had to conform to their inner vision. He says something beautiful here. The oak sleeps in the acorn. The bird waits in the egg, and in the highest vision of the soul, a waking angel stirs. Dreams are the seedlings of realities. Your highest dreams, your boldest visions, your deepest aspirations, these aren't random. They're not fantasies. They're seeds of what you're capable of becoming. But like any seed, they need the right conditions to grow. And the primary condition they need is the fertilizer of your consistent, focused thought. Alan explains that people who have achieved great things didn't just wish for success, they thought in a particular way. He says, they who would accomplish little need sacrifice little. They who would achieve much must sacrifice much. What are you sacrificing? Not good things necessarily, but the thoughts and habits that don't serve your highest purpose. You have to sacrifice worry for peace. You have to sacrifice doubt for confidence. You have to sacrifice resentment for forgiveness. You have to sacrifice limiting beliefs for empowering ones. Think about it this way. You can't rise to a new level while holding on to thoughts from your old level. If you want to achieve what you've never achieved, you have to think thoughts you've never consistently thought. This requires sacrifice. It requires letting go of familiar mental patterns, even if those patterns feel comfortable. Victim thinking might feel comfortable because it means nothing is your fault, but it will never lead to achievement. Complaint thinking might feel satisfying in the moment, but it will never lead to improvement. Fear-based thinking might feel safe, but it will never lead to bold action. Alan says that the person who has conquered doubt and fear has conquered failure. That's such a powerful statement. Most failure doesn't happen in the external world. It happens in the mind. People fail because they thought they would fail. They gave up because they thought it was hopeless. They never tried because they thought they weren't good enough. The external failure was just the inevitable result of the internal failure that already happened in their thoughts. But when you conquer doubt and fear in your mind, when you develop unshakable confidence in your thoughts, external success becomes almost inevitable. Not easy necessarily, but inevitable. Because once your mind is convinced something is possible, it will find a way to make it happen. Your mind is incredibly creative and resourceful when it's not being held back by limiting thoughts. Let me share something with you that I think is crucial. Alan talks about how intellectual achievements are the result of thought consecrated to the search for knowledge or the beautiful and true in life and nature. Notice that word, consecrated. He's not talking about casual thinking or daydreaming. He's talking about dedicated, focused, disciplined thinking. He's talking about treating your mind like a sacred space where important work happens. Most people let any thought wander through their mind. It's like having a house with no door. Whatever wants to come in just walks in. But achievers are different. They're selective about what thoughts they entertain. They guard their mental space. They protect their focus. They don't let fear just walk in and make itself at home. They don't let doubt set up camp in their mind. They're intentional about what gets their mental attention. Alan says that spiritual achievements are the result of aspirations directed toward the spiritual. If you want to grow spiritually, you have to think spiritual thoughts. If you want to be more loving, you have to think loving thoughts. If you want to be more peaceful, you have to think peaceful thoughts. You can't think materialistic, judgmental, angry thoughts all day and then wonder why you're not more spiritually evolved. It doesn't work that way. He makes this profound point. He who has conquered weakness and has put away all selfish thoughts belongs neither to oppressor nor oppressed. He is free. This is true freedom, not freedom from external circumstances necessarily, but freedom from the tyranny of your own undisciplined thoughts. When you're no longer controlled by every fear that arises, every doubt that whispers, every temptation that beckons, you're free. You're in charge. You're the master of your own mind. Now let's talk about one of the most beautiful sections of the entire book, Alan's discussion of serenity. He says that calmness of mind is one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom. It's the result of long and patient effort in self-control. You don't just wake up one day feeling serene. You build serenity thought by thought, choice by choice, moment by moment over time. Alan says that the more tranquil a person becomes, the greater is their success, their influence, their power for good. Think about the people you admire most. Chances are they have a quality of calmness about them. They don't get rattled easily. They don't react emotionally to every situation. They maintain their center, and because of that calmness, they can think clearly, act wisely, and influence others powerfully. He says, "A man becomes calm in the measure that he understands himself as a thought-evolved being." In other words, the more you understand that you're creating your reality through your thoughts, the calmer you become. Why? Because you realize you're in control of the most important thing, your inner state. External circumstances might be chaotic, but your inner world can remain peaceful if you choose thoughts of peace. Alan explains that there's no point in getting worked up about things. Worry doesn't solve problems, it creates them. Anxiety doesn't prepare you for the future, it drains you of the energy you need to handle the present. Anger doesn't right wrongs, it blinds you to solutions. The calm person understands this. They know that maintaining their poise is the most practical, powerful thing they can do. He says something that gives me chills every time I read it. Self-control is strength. Right thought is mastery. Calmness is power. These aren't just nice sayings to put on a poster. These are literal descriptions of how reality works. When you control yourself, specifically, when you control your thoughts, you become strong. When you think correctly, thoughts aligned with truth and principle, you master your circumstances. When you maintain calmness, inner peace regardless of outer chaos, you wield incredible power. Alan continues with these beautiful words, "Say unto your heart, peace, be still." Just like Jesus calming the storm in the biblical story, you have the power to speak peace to the storm of your own mind. When anxious thoughts are swirling, you can command your mind to be still. When fearful thoughts are raging, you can choose peace. This is your power. This is your birthright. He talks about how the calm, strong person is always loved and revered. People are naturally drawn to someone who maintains their center. Why? Because it's rare. Because most people are at the mercy of their thoughts and emotions, being tossed around like leaves in the wind. But someone who remains calm in the storm, that person stands out. That person has something everyone else wants. Alan says that the person who is calm has learned how to govern themselves and knows that thoughts and their effects can be studied, and that every other person who applies themselves can also learn. This is so important. Calmness isn't a personality trait you're born with or not. It's a skill you develop. It's the result of understanding how your mind works and deliberately choosing your thoughts. He explains that the more you study the cause and effect relationship between your thoughts and your experiences, the more you realize that you're not a victim. Every experience is teaching you something. Every challenge is strengthening some part of you. Every difficulty is revealing some area where your thinking needs to improve. When you see life this way, how can you not be calm? You're always exactly where you need to be, learning exactly what you need to learn. Alan says that into every life, rain must fall, but the calm person knows that behind the clouds, the sun is still shining. Difficulties are temporary. Challenges will pass, but the peace you cultivate in your mind, that can be permanent if you maintain it. He talks about how the wise person doesn't get elated by success or devastated by failure because they understand that both are temporary circumstances, but their inner peace is their true possession. Here's something profound. Alan says that you should keep your hand firmly upon the helm of thought. Your thoughts are like a ship's wheel. If you let go of it, the ship goes wherever the current takes it. But if you firmly grasp that wheel and steer deliberately, you can navigate through any storm and reach any destination. Most people have never taken hold of their mental helm. They've just let their thoughts drift wherever, and then they wonder why they end up in places they don't want to be. He encourages us, "In the bark of your soul reclines the commanding master. He does but sleep. Wake him." Inside you right now is a master, a higher self, a wiser self, a self that's capable of incredible things. But that master is asleep in most people. It's asleep because they've never awakened it through conscious, disciplined thought. Wake up that master. Take control. Become the commander of your own mind. Alan talks about how self-control is strength because a person who can control their thoughts can control their impulses, their actions, their words, and ultimately their destiny. Most people are controlled by whatever they feel in the moment. They feel angry, so they lash out. They feel afraid, so they retreat. They feel tempted, so they indulge. But the person who has developed self-control, specifically control over their thoughts, is no longer at the mercy of feelings. They can feel something and choose to think and act differently. This doesn't mean suppressing emotions or pretending you don't feel things. It means that your emotions don't get to drive the car. Your wise, disciplined mind drives, and your emotions are passengers. You acknowledge them, you learn from them, but you don't let them steer your life. This is mastery. Alan explains that right thought is mastery because when you're thinking correctly, thoughts based on truth, principle, wisdom, you're in alignment with how reality actually works. You're not fighting against the current anymore. You're flowing with it. You're working with universal laws instead of against them. And when you do that, everything becomes easier. Not effortless necessarily, but easier. You're not creating unnecessary resistance through wrong thinking. And calmness is power because a calm mind can see clearly. A calm mind can make wise decisions. A calm mind can solve problems that an agitated mind can't even perceive. Think about trying to see clearly into water. If the water is choppy and disturbed, you can't see anything below the surface. But if the water is calm, you can see all the way to the bottom. Your mind is the same way. When it's calm, you can see truth, solutions, and possibilities that are invisible when your mind is disturbed. Let me bring all of this together for you because I want to make sure you understand just how revolutionary this book really is. What Alan is giving us is a complete operating system for human consciousness. He's not just giving us tips or techniques. He's revealing the fundamental laws that govern human experience. Here's the complete picture. You are a thinking being. Your thoughts are the creative force in your life. Whatever you think consistently, you become. Whatever you think about consistently, you attract or move toward. Your character is a sum total of your thoughts. Your circumstances are the mirror of your character. Your health reflects your mental state. Your achievements flow from your mental discipline. Your peace comes from your mental poise. Everything, and I mean everything, starts in your mind. The good news is that this means you have far more power than you probably realized. The challenging news is that this means you have far more responsibility than you might have wanted. You can't blame anyone or anything else for where you are. But you also don't need anyone or anything else to change in order for you to start moving in a different direction. You can start right now, right this moment. You can begin thinking different thoughts. You can begin choosing thoughts that serve your highest vision for yourself. You can begin pulling the weeds from your mental garden and planting better seeds. You can begin focusing your thoughts on a clear purpose. You can begin thinking thoughts of health, peace, abundance, and possibility, instead of sickness, anxiety, scarcity, and limitation. Will your life change overnight? No. Remember, Alan isn't promising magic. He's describing law. Seeds take time to grow. But if you plant good seeds and you're patient, you will harvest good fruit. It's inevitable. It's law. You cannot think empowering thoughts consistently and remain in a disempowered state. You cannot think healthy thoughts consistently and remain in an unhealthy state. You cannot think abundant thoughts consistently and remain in a state of scarcity. The outer must eventually conform to the inner, but you have to be consistent. You have to be patient. You have to be vigilant. Your mind has probably been running on autopilot for years, maybe decades. Those old thought patterns are deeply grooved. They won't change just because you heard one audiobook summary or read one inspiring message. They'll change when you commit to consciously choosing your thoughts every single day, multiple times a day, for as long as it takes. This is the work. This is the path. This is what Alan discovered and shared with the world. And here's the beautiful thing. This work is available to everyone. You don't need money to do this work. You don't need special circumstances. You don't need permission from anyone. You just need to make the decision that from this moment forward, you're taking control of your mental life. I want to talk about something that Alan implies throughout the book, but doesn't always state explicitly: the compounding effect of thoughts. Every thought you think makes it easier to think similar thoughts in the future. It's like creating a path through a forest. The first time you walk that path, you have to push through undergrowth and branches, but the more times you walk it, the clearer the path becomes. Eventually, it becomes the path of least resistance. This works with both positive and negative thoughts. If you've been thinking worried thoughts for years, worry has become your mental path of least resistance. Your mind automatically goes there. But the good news is, you can create new paths. Every time you catch a worried thought and consciously choose a different thought, you're blazing a new trail. It feels difficult at first, but with repetition, that new thought pattern becomes easier and easier until eventually it becomes your new default. This is why Alan emphasizes patience and persistence. You're literally rewiring your brain. You're creating new neural pathways. This is real physical change happening in your brain, and it takes time, but it absolutely will happen if you keep at it. Every single positive thought you choose, every single empowering belief you reinforce, every single moment you maintain your mental discipline, it's all building. It's all compounding. 6 months from now, if you commit to this work, you'll be amazed at how differently you think. A year from now, you might not even recognize your old thought patterns. 5 years from now, you'll be living in a completely different reality. And here's something else that's important to understand. This isn't about perfection. Alan isn't saying you have to have perfect thoughts all the time. You're human. Negative thoughts will come. Doubts will arise. Fears will surface. That's normal. That's part of being human. What matters is what you do when those thoughts show up. Do you welcome them in and let them take over? Or do you acknowledge them and then consciously choose different thoughts? Think of it like this. You can't always control what birds fly over your head, but you can control whether you let them build a nest in your hair. Negative thoughts will fly through your mental space. That's inevitable. But you don't have to let them nest there. You don't have to feed them. You don't have to give them your attention and energy. You can say, "I see you, fear. I hear you, doubt, but I'm not following you. I'm choosing a different thought." Alan talks about how the strong person is not the one who never feels fear. It's the one who feels fear and acts courageously anyway. The serene person is not the one who never experiences stress. It's the one who experiences stress and maintains their peace anyway. The successful person is not the one who never faces obstacles. It's the one who faces obstacles and persists anyway. It's not about eliminating all challenges. It's about developing the mental strength to handle them. This is so liberating when you really get it. You don't have to wait until you feel completely confident before you act. You don't have to wait until you feel completely peaceful before you make decisions. You don't have to wait until all doubt is gone before you move forward. You just have to think the thoughts that align with who you want to be and what you want to accomplish. And then take action from that place, even if other thoughts and feelings are also present. Let me tell you about something that transformed my own life. I used to think that successful, happy, peaceful people just naturally thought that way. I thought they were lucky or blessed with good brain chemistry or something. But then I started really studying these principles that Alan teaches, and I realized, no, these people have trained their minds. They've done the work. They've been disciplined about their thoughts, probably for years, and now it looks effortless because it's become their habit. It's like watching a skilled musician play. It looks so easy, so natural. But you know what? That musician practiced for thousands of hours. They trained their fingers, they trained their ears, they trained their mind. And now, what used to be difficult is second nature. Your mind works the same way. Right now, if you've been thinking negatively for years, positive thinking feels forced and difficult. But I promise you, With practice, it becomes natural. Eventually, empowering thoughts become your default setting. Alan emphasizes something that's easy to miss but incredibly important: the role of aspiration. He says that your dreams, your visions, your highest aspirations are not random. They're not fantasies to be dismissed as unrealistic. They're actually glimpses of what you're capable of becoming. They're seeds of potential planted in your consciousness. Think about it. Why do you dream of being confident if you have no capacity for confidence? Why do you envision yourself succeeding if you have no potential for success? Why do you imagine yourself living peacefully if peace isn't part of your nature? These visions and dreams are your higher self calling to your present self, showing you what's possible, inviting you to grow into that fuller version of yourself. But here's the key. You can't just dream and hope. You have to align your daily thoughts with your dreams. If you dream of being financially abundant, but your daily thoughts are all about scarcity and lack, those thoughts will override your dreams every time. If you dream of being loved, but your daily thoughts are that you're unworthy and unlovable, those thoughts will sabotage every relationship. Your daily habitual thoughts have to match your aspirations, or your aspirations will remain forever out of reach. Alan says that the dreamers are the saviors of the world, the people who dare to envision something better, something higher, something more beautiful. These are the people who move humanity forward. But they're only able to manifest those dreams because they discipline their thoughts to support those visions. They don't just dream, they think in alignment with their dreams. They make their daily thoughts match their highest aspirations. Let me address something that people often struggle with when they encounter these ideas. Someone might say, "But I've tried positive thinking before and it didn't work. I tried affirming that I was confident and successful, but I still felt insecure and I still failed." Here's what Alan would say to that. It's not just about what you consciously affirm on the surface. It's about your deep, habitual thought patterns. If you're saying, "I am confident" once a day but thinking "I'm not good enough" 100 times a day, which thought do you think is more powerful? If you're affirming abundance once in a while but worrying about money constantly, which is actually governing your experience, the thoughts that create your reality are the ones you think most often, the ones you think most deeply, the ones you've been thinking for the longest time. Those are the thoughts that have really taken root in your mental garden. So when you commit to this work, you're not just adding a few positive affirmations on top of your existing thought patterns. You're actually uprooting the negative thought patterns. You're catching them when they arise. You're challenging them. You're replacing them. This is active, ongoing work. It's not a technique you try for a week and then give up on when you don't see immediate results. It's a lifestyle. It's a practice. It's a commitment to yourself. Alan talks about how the world is governed by law. There's cause and effect in every domain. Plant corn, get corn. Plant weeds, get weeds. This is predictable, reliable, and it never fails. The same is true with thoughts. Think courage, experience courage. Think fear, experience fear. It's law. But just like physical farming, mental farming requires patience. You don't plant seeds today and harvest tomorrow. There's a growing season. There's a process. You have to trust the process. One of the things I love most about Alan's message is how democratic it is. He's not saying that some people are chosen or gifted or special and others aren't. He's saying that these laws apply to everyone equally. The person who seems to have a charmed life isn't operating under different laws than you. They've just learned to work with these laws consciously, and you can learn the same thing. The only difference between you and someone who's mastered these principles is that they've done the work and sustained it. This means you have no valid excuse for not applying these principles. You can't say, "Well, this might work for other people but not for me," because the laws of thought don't discriminate. They work for everyone who applies them. It doesn't matter what your background is, what your education is, what resources you have or don't have. Your mind is your mind, and you have complete dominion over it if you choose to exercise that dominion. Let's talk about something practical: How do you actually start doing this work? How do you actually take these principles and apply them today, right now, in your real life? First, you have to become aware of your thoughts. Most people go through their entire lives never really paying attention to what they're thinking. Thoughts just run on autopilot in the background. So step one is simply to notice. Start catching yourself thinking. When you feel bad, stop and ask yourself, what was I just thinking? When you feel anxious, notice the thoughts that are creating that anxiety. When you feel angry, identify the thoughts fueling that anger. You can't change what you're not aware of. Second, question your thoughts. Just because you think something doesn't make it true. If you catch yourself thinking I'll never succeed or nobody likes me or I can't do this, stop and ask, is this actually true? Do I have evidence for this? Is this thought serving me? Most of our limiting thoughts crumble under honest examination. They're just old stories we've been telling ourselves, not actual truth. Third, consciously choose a better thought. This is where the real work happens. When you catch a disempowering thought, deliberately replace it with an empowering one. Not a fake thought that you don't believe, but a truer, more helpful thought. Instead of I'll never succeed, try I'm learning and growing every day. Instead of nobody likes me, try I'm worthy of love and I'm working on being my best self. Instead of I can't do this, try this is challenging, but I'm capable of figuring it out. Fourth, repeat this process over and over and over again. This is not a one-time fix. This is daily practice, hourly practice, moment-by-moment practice. Every time you catch a negative thought and choose a better one, you're building new mental pathways. You're weakening the old patterns and strengthening the new ones. Do this consistently for weeks, for months, and you will transform your entire mental landscape. Fifth, support your mental work with action. Thoughts are powerful, but they work best when combined with action. If you're thinking thoughts of health, also make healthy choices. If you're thinking thoughts of success, also take steps toward your goals. If you're thinking thoughts of love, also act lovingly. Let your thoughts and actions reinforce each other. This creates a powerful upward spiral where your thoughts inspire your actions and your actions validate your thoughts. Now, I want you to understand something crucial. This journey of mastering your thoughts is not about becoming perfect. It's not about never having another negative thought. It's not about controlling every single thought that passes through your mind. That's impossible, and it's not even the goal. The goal is to become the conscious director of your mental life, rather than being unconsciously directed by it. You're going to have bad days. You're going to slip back into old patterns sometimes. You're going to catch yourself dwelling on worry or fear or resentment. That's okay. That's part of being human. What matters is that you notice it, you don't judge yourself for it, and you gently redirect your thoughts. Be patient with yourself. Be compassionate with yourself. This is a journey, not a destination. Alan spent his life studying and applying these principles, and yet I'm sure even he had moments of doubt or fear or worry. The difference is that he knew how to return to center. He knew how to reclaim his mental peace. He knew that one negative thought doesn't define him. It's the overall pattern of his thinking that shapes his life. And he was committed to making that overall pattern one of strength, wisdom, love, and aspiration. Let me tell you what this journey has meant for me personally, because I think it's important for you to know that I'm not just sharing these ideas theoretically. I've lived this. I've struggled with this. I've had to do this work myself, and I continue to do it every single day. There was a time in my life when I was completely controlled by fearful, negative thoughts. I worried constantly. I doubted myself endlessly. I saw problems everywhere and possibilities nowhere. And my life reflected that thinking. I was stuck, struggling, and unhappy. I kept waiting for my circumstances to change, but they never did. I kept blaming external factors, but nothing improved. Then I discovered this book. I discovered these principles. And I realized, oh my God, I've been creating my own prison with my thoughts. I've been my own worst enemy. But that realization, as painful as it was also the beginning of my freedom. Because if I created this situation with my thoughts, then I could create a different situation with different thoughts. So I started doing the work. I started paying attention to my thoughts. I started challenging my limiting beliefs. I started consciously choosing empowering thoughts even when they felt foreign and uncomfortable. And I'm telling you, my life began to change. Not overnight, not magically, but gradually, consistently, undeniably. Opportunities started appearing. Relationships improved. My health got better. My confidence grew. My whole life transformed. And the most amazing part? The external changes weren't even the best part. The best part was the internal change. I felt free in a way I'd never felt before. Free from the tyranny of my own negative thinking. Free from being a victim of my circumstances. Free to choose who I wanted to be and how I wanted to show up in the world. That freedom, that internal liberation, is worth more than any external success. That's what James Allen is offering you in this book. That's what these principles can give you. Not just a better life, though you'll probably get that too, but something even more valuable. Freedom, power, peace, the ability to stand in the center of any storm and maintain your calm, the ability to face any challenge and maintain your courage, the ability to experience any setback and maintain your hope. This is your birthright. This is what you were designed for. You were not created to be tossed around by circumstances like a leaf in the wind. You were created to be the master of your own consciousness, the creator of your own experience, the author of your own story. But you have to claim that power. You have to step into that role. Nobody can do it for you. Your parents can't fix your thinking. Your partner can't fix your thinking. Your therapist can help you understand your thinking, but they can't fix it. Your friends can support you, but they can't change your mental patterns. Only you. What thought will you choose? Will it be a thought of possibility or limitation? Will it be a thought of courage or fear? Will it be a thought of love or resentment? Will it be a thought of abundance or scarcity? Will it be a thought that builds you up or tears you down? The choice is yours. It's always yours. And that choice you have within you right now, in this very moment, the power to transform your entire life. That power is your mind. That power is your thoughts. That chance to step into the fullness of who you were created to be. Don't waste it. Don't let another day go by living on autopilot. Wake up, take the helm, steer your ship toward the destination of your dreams, and trust that as you change your thoughts, everything else will follow. You've got, my friends, if this message has touched your heart, if these principles have awakened something within you, if you feel that spark of possibility igniting in your soul, then please hit that subscribe button and smash that like button for Audiobook Gist. We're building a community of conscious creators here, people who understand that transformation starts in the mind, people who are committed to becoming the best versions of themselves, people who refuse to live as victims and choose instead to live as masters of their own destiny. Subscribe so you never miss another life-changing summary. Like this video so we know to bring you more content like this. And most importantly, share this with someone who needs to hear it. Share it with someone who's struggling, someone who's stuck, someone who's forgotten their own power. Be the one who reminds them that they have the ability to transform their entire life by transforming their thoughts. Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing this work. Thank you for choosing to become more. Until next time, remember, you are what you think, so think magnificent.